This is video 2. My previous video I showed that I counterbored a badly machined valve seat earlier, and you can see here that one there is the results of my counterboring. I had a few small errors, so yesterday I machined the seating area with a linishing tool I've made up, which I'll show you shortly, and today I've found that I've got 4/4 of an inch ovality between this point here and this point here, so I've got to make it the same diameter from there to there, which I'm going to do with this guide plate that I've got here. I've made this big guide plate up that sits over those two studs like that, and you can see it floats around quite a bit. So I've made this guide tool that is the right diameter where my thumb's pushing for the counterbore, and the part I'm gripping is a very good fit in this bored hole in the guide plate. So I'll put that in and try and find the spot, juggle it into position. It's a little bit of a trick with one hand, and somewhere there with a bit of persuasion, there we go. That's a really good fit, that. It'll spin on it, but it won't move sideways in any way. So now I just add some hardware to clamp the thing down. All fairly backyard, you might say, agricultural, as people like to use. And do all this up, which will locate the guide plate in the right position. Do all that up. And then pull this. So while I'm doing this, I'll just show you what I've got. Remove the glove. That there is close enough at the moment for the angle of the seat that it'll be replacing. So I've already previously put the valve down through here and seen that I've got a positive mark all the way around this area, so I know that my original counterboring and machining was in the right position. So I'm just removing that guide plate, putting him in a trusty little spot. This is the let's get a better view of that. This is the linishing tool that I'm using. So that's the cutting face where my thumb is, and it's guided by this ring here, and it's all set for the right depths and everything, and it can oscillate in the guide plate, so it goes around like that, but it's confined. I've calculated the difference between this diameter, where are we, there and there, and done my calculations including the thickness of the emery cloth for linishing and some double-sided tape to help hold that on. So I'm going to change this over for a fine one at the moment. I've put a witness mark in the bottom there, and I want to see I'm aiming to get 4 thou between here and over here, and I'll be checking all that again to get the ovality removed. I've made some little strips up. This is a previously used one, so that just sits in there, which I'm about to change So when I've done that, I'll come back and show you where I've got to. I've got a temporary valve seat that I've made up out of 300 KSI steel. It's basically what I will finish with, except on the reverse side you'll see a massive chamfer which I'll reduce so I get far more wall thickness, but it's suited as a test, you might call it, a testing tool. So now I've got little to no radius in the bottom here, probably 20th hour radius, and I'll match that when I machine a new seat to be shrunk in to position for in there, so that sits in there, as you can see. So I'll just remove that. I made a little tool up earlier this morning to be able to measure, so it's 2 bolts back to back with a couple of nuts, and I can just finely tweak one and the other to get a good fine adjustment in there and find out my high and low spots. So I'm aiming to get it within a thou, if not better than a thousandth of an inch, which is pretty important to help lock in the shrunk fit new seat that I'm going to machine up, very similar to that one there. Anyway, I'll get back to playing with this for an hour or so. Oh, that's what I've done. Oh, I haven't got it here. I made another tool up, a cap you might call it, that fitted over this and allowed me to linish on the bottom face to get that there. So it was sort of a 2-in-1 tool. It worked really well. I'll just see if I can find it. Hang on. No idea where I've put that for the now. Anyway, I'll come back when I've done a little bit more of this. So I'm just going to spin this in my reliable, handy little battery drill. Spin that around. Driving it with those little triangular flats I put on it. And just casually work away with that tool. Oh, I better show you. So that tool goes in there and does float around. Oh, here we go. There, floats around. But it's all quite accurate because I'm using this known bore size that I bored in the guide block, and that diameter, minus a few calculations to get me to that, and everyone should be happy in a day or two. Mainly me. Alright, I'll show you some end results further down the track when I get there.